Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Sequire Spotlight. I'm Carmel Fisher, your host. Today, we're spotlighting Coeptis Therapeutics Holdings, Inc., and the president CEO with me today is Dave Mehalick. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks, Carmel. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Excellent having you. Just some exciting news that we can jump straight into. First, give us an overview of what Coeptis Therapeutics Holdings does. You are on the NASDAQ now with the ticker COEP. So tell us more about what you do, and we can take it from there.
Sure. Yeah, correct. Yeah, Coeptis trades on the NASDAQ under symbol COEP. We are a cell therapy company focused on oncology, located in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area.
Wonderful. So November of last year, 2022, seemed to be quite a significant year for Coeptis. A lot of exciting developments from ringing that NASDAQ bell, and then also some more exciting stuff. So please give us further insight into why that ringing of the bell was so important, and also the merger that you have with Bullhorn.
Sure. Yeah, that was a big momentous occasion for the company, ringing of the bell on the NASDAQ. Obviously, getting us off of, we were trading on the over-the-counter, moving us to a national exchange, giving us opportunity to reach much more investors. And really giving us a much better audience to explain and just to showcase the technologies that we're bringing to the market. The merger with Bullhorn was a publicly traded SPAC. And I would note that we were the only SPAC that I'm aware of that closed in the month of October. Very difficult month for obviously the market and especially the SPAC market. And we were also the only SPAC closing anywhere near that time that did not do some kind of what I would define as difficult financing for the company. So no repricings of financings, just straight equity. So very hard to get done deal that we got done in the most difficult market. So I think that says a lot, not only about the company and management, the stick-to-itiveness of of us and the grit in that, but it also talks about the kind of assets that we have and how we were accepted by the market.
Wonderful. In January, you also attended the JP Morgan Annual Healthcare Conference. So tell us more about that, and obviously what the strategy now will be to go out since you're on the landscape and able to pull in more institutional investors. What would the strategy look like around that?
Sure. So, we attended the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference in San Francisco. It was well attended in general by the biotech and pharma community, because it was the first time, I think, in the last 3 years that this was an in-person meeting. It had moved to virtual, and everybody to get together in person in San Francisco was well attended. So we were able to meet with not only a lot of investment banks that were interested in us, but also institutions, whether they be family offices or healthcare-based funds and such. But, and we also met with a lot of other companies like us interested in possibly doing some type of work together, collaborative type efforts and such to move forward our technologies. And I think this year it's really going to be taking the assets that we have, which are, in a very good spot, let's say, for the area that we are moving forward in cell therapy. There's been a lot of negative results from other companies, especially some companies that are direct competitors that have had what I would call abject extreme failures in their technologies. And it does leave a wide open space, that the door is swung wide open for Coeptis to march in with what we feel is the best in class assets in our space right now.
Wonderful. So what would you say sets you apart from your competitors who you're saying are showing less than favorable results to Coeptis?
Sure. I mean, for one, I think our scientific team, especially for a company our size, is even with a company much larger than ours, is second to none. We have some of the leading researchers at the Karolinska Institute, some top researchers at University of Pittsburgh. Certainly our researchers at Karolinska are recognized globally from companies, the largest companies in the space is on down as some of the top people. If you attend any conference in cell therapy, especially NK related, they are some of the keynote speakers there. And I think it's basically the technology that they develop, the form of how we are doing what we are doing in the cell space, which allows us to have fully functional cells, not altered cells that aren't quite as viable, which is what our competition came apart with. And, you've seen a lot of dramatic failures there.
Correct. In terms of IQVIA, we see that there was a collaboration of sorts, or at least a finalization of that collaboration in November of last year as well. What do you foresee that bringing to the table, and how will it assist in your forward trajectory of improving patient outcomes, or any of the products that you are currently and services you're involved with?
Sure. So IQV is one of the largest companies in the world, assisting companies like us to be able to move our technologies not only into the clinic, but the quickest, the smartest, the most innovative, the best target for our technologies. All three of our technologies are platforms. We are working with them initially on the SnapCAR version of CAR T, a platform technology that we licensed from the University of Pittsburgh, working with them to decide not only what are the optimal indication points besides some of the areas we're already looking at in solid tumors, but also how to smartly move that forward. What's the best, most successful, opportune way to move it forward, the most inexpensive for a company like ours. What type of orphan drug opportunities may exist in that space that we could look after, and also what type of partnerships we could look at as well. So they're a valued partner, and they are first in class in their space as well. So great that we're able to partner with them.
I'm glad you mentioned the SnapCAR. What is the SnapCAR development program, and how is it going to be beneficial for society and for Coeptis in the future?
So yeah, that's a great question. People may be familiar with CAR T therapy. To really, let's say, simplify it, is using a person's T cell, augmenting it in a way, introducing, let's just say a dormant virus into the T cell, and then putting it into the patient's body, attacking a certain target point. In our cases, it would be some target point in the area of oncology, and you've seen a lot of success. You've seen a lot of news articles coming out talking about how CAR T therapy has been successful in areas of cancer with patients where it seemed before they had untreatable cancers, and they've had great success in it. Some of the difficulties you've seen in CAR T is it hasn't worked very successfully at all in solid tumors. It's only really worked in the blood-related cancers. So the solid tumors like breast cancer, ovarian cancer, small cell lung cancer, you haven't seen success there. The way that the researchers at the University of Pittsburgh are using develop their version of CAR T has allowed for what seems to be very strong early success in solid tumors. Also, the way CAR T attacks a cancer cell, it attacks a direct, let's say, attraction point on the cell, where our version is a two-step process. We form what would be called a universal CAR T cell. We put that back in the patient's body, and that kind of hangs out in the body until we add a tagged antibody along with that is where we're attaching to the cancer cell. So it allows us to, if you will, pulse the amount of CAR T we deliver. So it avoids the really negative, what would be called a cytokine storm, which could be, detrimental, if not fatal, to a patient. And it also allows us to attack a cell in different let's just say attack points, different points on the cell or the tumor surface. So therefore, we could move away from the mutatability of a cancer cell by attacking it in different areas. So the cancer won't be able to mutate against our attack. Right. So it delivers many different areas that is not currently available in CAR T, and I think it's going to be really an amazing asset, really pushing forward.
Excellent, and so needed right now. So it sounds like that's one of the ways in which you can disrupt the conventional treatment paradigms. What else can you speak to on that topic, where Coeptis is concerned?
Yes, I mean, certainly on our platform technologies that we pulled out of Karolinska, the GEAR platform, which is our foundational technology that Coeptis was really formed on, and GEAR stands for genetically edited antibody resistant effector cells. That's a mouthful, right? But basically what we're able to do is we're able to, when you introduce a monoclonal antibody or an antibody therapy into a patient, that therapy acts as a very directed guided missile type therapy that attracts to a point on a cell and then kills the designated cell. In our case, we're working on an incurable blood cancer called multiple myeloma. The off-targeting effects of that is it kills off effector cells, immune cells, in this case, natural killer cells. So what we're trying to do is stop the killing off of natural killer cells. And the way that we have discovered to do it unlike other companies that are in the space, is it leaves the natural killer cell totally viable, and leaves it functioning just like it should be functioning in the body. And that's very, very important to allow for, let's just consider it almost like the removing or the taking away of the toxicity inherent with some of these therapies. So if we could introduce this technology and remove toxicity from antibody therapy, there's a massive, massive, area there to be working with.
100%, because that's often the cause for concern with many of these patients is I'm going to get the healing, but also exposing myself to, like you mentioned, an abundance of toxicity, which can really go either way. So this is really exciting stuff, and I look forward to hearing more about it. But before we kind of get to the end of the interview, I want to hear more about Dave Mehalick. What brings you to the space and why you're so passionate about it?
So, really, I mean, and I gave this speech kind of in a shorter version when we listed on the NASDAQ, and it's I'm a father of 6, right? So and I had one of our board members who's a dear friend of mine lost his son to cancer about a year ago at a very young age, in his young 20s. Horrible thing. And I really years ago have felt that there are ways that we could be pushing forward to ridding the world of the horrors of cancer. And I think that is what really drives us as a company. And I think we just have so many opportunities. You have so many brilliant minds like the ones we have and that we're working with from Karolinska and the University of Pittsburgh, and really being able to, combine these brains together to be able to really unlock this puzzle, which is really what I think it is. It's a puzzle that needs unlocked. But I think, it gives us the opportunity to move towards that and, in the very least, alleviate some of the disasters of cancer and hopefully do much more than that.
100%. I think so many of these stories are becoming so much more relevant and so much more closer to home for all of us, right, in this space. So thank you so much for the work you're doing on this. I think it's incredible. And like I said, looking forward to hearing more. What would you like our viewers to take away from this conversation, and why should they pay attention to COEP on the NASDAQ exchange?
Well, I mean, I think we have an opportunity here to bring forth amazing technologies. We're extraordinarily undervalued compared to peers, even peers. This is very notable, that have had major failures. We're still trading at a huge fraction to them. So I think there's a lot of excitement in Coeptis. I think Coeptis could be a major player in the cancer space, especially in the antibody space and the CAR T space. So there's an immense opportunities with the company right now.
Wonderful. Remind our viewers where we can receive more information, should we want to do so.
I mean, certainly we will put out news certainly on our website, and I think a lot of things will happen throughout the next 12 months that we'll be able to report on.
Excellent. Unless you have any closing remarks, this has been a wonderful conversation, Dave. Thank you so much for joining us. You're watching the Sequire Spotlight. Stay tuned for more.
Thank you so much.